Hello, I'm Terry Steiner, Executive Director of the Yellowstone County Museum at the Billings International Airport. Today we're going to introduce you to the Yellowstone County Museum, which is in the historical Paul McCormick cabin, which was built in 1893, brought to this location from downtown Billings in 1954. And the location of the original cabin was in downtown Billings at North 31st and 4th. And it was brought up here and they created the Yellowstone County Museum.
Hello, my name is Christian Coppage. I'm Curator of Collections here at the Yellowstone County Museum. I'm a Montana native who grew up in a small farming town called Denton, about 200 miles north of here. And I moved down here about 6 years ago to attend MSU Billings, where I studied history and Native American studies. And I've been involved at the museum for about 2.5 years. During that time, through the hard work of the staff, the guidance of the board of directors, and support from the community, we've put together what I think is the best iteration of the Yellowstone County Museum so far.
So now Christian's going to visit about our current exhibits and our future plans at the Yellowstone County Museum.
One of the primary goals of our institution over the last couple of years is to better represent some of the original inhabitants of the region. This is best exemplified through our extensive collection of Native American artifacts and the numerous exhibits we use to interpret them. Native American peoples have been living in and around the Yellowstone Valley for thousands of years, and it seemed only right and fair that we devote more time to discussing their subjects and perspectives in the context of pre-contact, post-contact, and modern life. One of the first exhibits that you'll be exposed to here at the Yellowstone County Museum is A Legacy of Bravery, the story of Joe Medicine Crow. In an effort to kind of stay away from primarily 19th century Indians, which a lot of Western history museums tend to do, we wanted to pick a subject that was more modern, something more of the 20th and 21st century, and Joe Medicine Crow definitely fits that bill. He's an excellent representative of the modern Crow Nation. He was highly educated, he was a veteran, an educator and historian, and not only interested in the preservation of his culture and traditions, but also the future of his people and their advancement.
So I'm depending on you children to carry on. Make Billings a bigger and better city in the country. Aho, aho.
So on the other end of this effort, we have our fellow employee, Zach Garhart, who has developed all of the exhibits on pre-contact First Peoples and their physical culture. Montana Archaeology is Zach's exhibit, but is also the product of our recent partnership with the Billings Curation Center, and covers the development of stone tools, the movements of peoples and goods, and the methods archaeologists use to examine those cultures from that era. The most recent addition to this sort of section of our Native American collection is Prehistoric Dining, which recounts the various plants and animals that were harvested, hunted, and ultimately consumed by those early peoples. From there, we move on to more 19th and early 20th century Native American subjects, and we have a very impressive collection of beadwork, moccasins, headdresses, and various other types of dress and decoration. So when I was initially hired in 2018, one of my first projects was the reorganization of the firearms room. Today we have over 60 firearms on display downstairs. For the firearms enthusiast, we have a large array of Colt revolvers, Winchester repeating rifles, and Springfield trapdoor carbines, as well as a plethora of other historically and technologically significant firearms. One issue I had, and that I noticed with a lot of other museums, is that firearms displays typically cater to the firearm enthusiast, people who are just happy to see the gun, essentially. And that may not be what everyone wants to see. So what we try to do is not only focus on the firearms and the technical aspects of those firearms, but also the people who use them. Guns tell a lot about them. Were they a lawman or a criminal, potentially a soldier, hunter, maybe even a trick shooter? By making the exhibits equal part about the firearms and the people, we can kind of cast a larger net and get more people interested in the subject. So another exhibit I produced last year was Southeast Montana Battlefields, which features some of the significant battles in the area. Some people are familiar with the Little Bighorn and the Rosebud, of course, but also kind of recounts the events of the Battle of Canyon Creek, which was also pretty significant and very close to home, only 10 miles west of Billings. So finally, a unique feature at the Yellowstone County Museum is our ghost dance exhibit. Now, the ghost dance was something of a spiritual awakening among primarily Plains Indian tribes, and unfortunately is associated very closely with the Wounded Knee Massacre in 1890. The collection itself is actually the property of a private collector who has loaned it to the museum for an extended period of time. It's an extensive and very impressive collection of ghost dance shirts, dresses, as well as various other objects used in the ceremony, including drums, shields, and prayer staffs. This is one of the largest publicly viewable displays in the entire nation. And it's not a subject we take lightly. We realize that the ghost dance can be considered beautiful, hopeful, but also understand the tragic connotations as well. We take our stewardship of this collection very seriously and make sure that everybody's fully aware of what they're getting into when they go downstairs, that the collection is usually shrouded from view, so people who don't want to view it don't have to, and people who do can always have that option. We hope by exploring the lives and histories of Native American people, we can kind of inspire an appreciation for those cultures in our visitors, and also an appreciation for the many Native American people still living in the Yellowstone Valley today. Keep in mind that I'm highlighting what I kind of perceive as some of the more important pieces in our collection. I certainly have not covered all of what we have to offer. There's quite a lot, so you'll have to stop by and see. Also, we have a Facebook, please be sure to visit, as well as our website, ycmhistory.org, where we keep people up to date on the various happenings of the museum. We oftentimes have speakers. We host events such as automobile shows up here as well, and various others.
In conclusion, we would like to encourage people to come and visit their county museum. It's open Tuesday through Saturday, 10:30 to 5:30, and it's always free.